All right, so yesterday I reviewed A Mother's Embrace, and I had said that I was going to show Kaylee this movie, and we were going to do a spoiler discussion, and a man of my word.
Yes, you are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Mother's Embrace, round 2. Round 1 for you.
Yeah, only once.
So if you want a spoiler-free review, that exists on this channel already. You can go check out that. But for those of you who have seen it, or for those of you who don't care about spoilers, here you go.
Then hang out.
So, first thing I want to say is I'm going to give a shout out to the Take It or Leave It Reviews channel, who was the one and only review for this online at the time, like an actual full video of it. I checked out their videos. They commented actually on our review of this, and we're like, I think we're the only other review, like you said. I think was it us? And I was like, yes, it was. Actually, it was you. So there you go. They said they were fans of the channel.
Aw.
So
Thanks.
we appreciate the support, and go check out Take It or Leave It Reviews.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll comment below, and I'll
Pin the post.
Yeah, I'll pin it for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so we. What did you think? I mean, I guess let's start there because you didn't get to get in on the
spoiler
review. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I mean, it definitely. We had. Was it 2023? Was that the year? There was a year where every horror movie that we were watching, almost so many of them had this theme around motherhood.
Yes.
And when you were telling me about this movie, you're like, it would have fit in very well in that year, as you can probably guess by the title too. And I totally agree with you. I think it would have gone right along with all those movies. And I think a lot of horror movies do explore. Motherhood is both a beautiful and a terrifying thing, and what our mothers can do to us is also beautiful and terrifying. So I think it makes sense for a lot of horror movies to kind of focus on either mothers or motherhood, or that subject area. And this one I did find very interesting because it's more about kind of breaking away from an abusive mother and the effects that has on somebody as an adult, while also being very Lovecraftian, kind of cosmic horror-y-ish.
Yeah.
That I quite like, and we never get enough of. It's hard to do, but I think this movie pulled it off really well. Obviously, the ending of the film, it's just full-on Lovecraft stuff happening, and I was very into all of that. Yeah, and I thought everyone's performance was great. The location was awesome and looked creepy. So, yeah, I really liked it. I'm glad you showed it to me.
So, I had the benefit of watching this for a second time, and being able to kind of really pay attention to certain elements, just trying to pick up a meaning. I didn't know exactly what to make of it the first time, and was like, okay, I really want to pay attention to all of these elements to try to see if I can come up with a theory of what this movie is trying to say. So here's my theory after second watch, and you can tell me how this works for you and what your take was after one watch. So initially, I agree. When I first watched it, I thought it had to do with breaking free of a abusive relationship, whatever. I think that's partially just part of it. What I really think about, what I think this movie is actually about is embracing and feeling your pain and not running from it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's part of it too.
So the more I was paying attention to everything in this, we basically have a cult who has been waiting for a storm of the century to come along. Now, this storm is based on a real storm that happened in Rio de Janeiro in the 90s. So a lot of what we see in this film, as far as like the news reports and the death toll and whatnot, that is actually like factual. So this is like historical fiction in a way. But when we're dealing with the characters in this within the house, they talk about how, towards the end there's the dad of the little girl who's talking to her, and he's talking about how so many people like died waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And essentially they're like kind of relinquishing control to this entity who's going to take their pain away, but ultimately they still just become part of that vessel and don't have their own lives anymore. Like they have to sacrifice themselves to be free of pain. And what she finds throughout this journey, because I think she's trying to repress her depression, her pain from what her mother did to her as a child. She's trying to push it deep down, and she's trying to forget about it, act like it didn't happen. When people talk to her about her mother, she shuts it down. She's like, I don't want to talk about that thing. She sees her everywhere despite this, right? She sees her on every street corner. She sees her in other people. She sees her mom wherever she looks. So it's not working, right? And her coworker, Roque, or however you say this guy's name, he, through his experiences with her, we find out that he was kind of inspired by her, getting to know her pain and talking about, basically like, he says, I have a line written down here that I was wanting to talk about with it. Where the hell did I put it? He says like something like, you showed me the pain. What the fuck? I wrote it down. No, this is annoying. Oh, here we go. You made me realize we all live with pain. And that's why he brought her there, right? Is that he's going to take her pain away, right? And they're going to go and they're going to take her down to this place, and just like her mom, right? So like her mom, I can only assume her mom is like having a really rough time in life, thinks the world is filled with pain, and she's going to save her child from a life of pain by just giving her this one last little hurrah at this amusement park,
right?
Named after John Carpenter, and nods to In the Mouth of Madness, and Carpenter's definitely made the best Lovecraftian films for me. But yeah, she's gonna take her. She's gonna give her this one little nice final night. Then she's gonna take her home, and they're just gonna fall asleep and never wake up, and the pain's gone.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling I got.
And unfortunately, what she really does is she creates more pain for her than ever, and a reminder too. She gets a scar from this that she carries around with her, and is this constant reminder. It's right in front of her of what her mother did to her. She chooses not to speak to her. She chooses to kind of shut it out. But yeah, I mean, I think that the closing line of this movie, the little girl asks her, "Does it hurt?" And she says yes. And she like kind of like cries, but like in a way that is therapeutic.
Sure,
she's
finally
kind of like just
relieved and
feeling the pain and being like, yes, it hurts. It's okay to be. It's okay to feel pain. Yeah. It's okay to, embrace what has come before and deal with it head on.
Yeah, I definitely think that's part of the message maybe of the film, or the focus is definitely, like you said, embracing your pain, because obviously you shouldn't be in pain, your entire life or anything, but part of just being alive.
No, but you will be if you don't deal with it.
Right. Yeah, you will. But yeah, just part of being alive, like there will be painful things, both physically painful and emotionally painful things that you have to experience. And I think that, the people that are able to really like make it through hard times, like there isn't a repression, there isn't a denial of things. You do have to face those painful bits kind of head on. And otherwise, like you said, like it'll kind of rule your life, especially when we talk about emotional stuff. And that's, for her, especially for this character, I mean, gosh, like dealing with the fact that your mom tried to kill you and like like it's a botched thing too, right? Like she doesn't fall asleep. Like she wakes up, the house is on fire. She's scared and crying for her mom. And then her mom is like still like holding her, trying to still kill her even after she's like woken up and is afraid. And what a horrible way for your kid to die, for anyone to die. So
I also think that what the entity is giving to people, or at least what it is selling people, right? Because I think that the entity that's down in the basement has is ulterior motives, is a nefarious creature, right? It's not actually there to be helpful.
Yeah.
Right. But with the imagery of the baby and the I guess we'll call them umbilical cords that are like totally tentacles. What they are,
yeah.
I was also thinking potentially, when we are in the womb, we are free of pain and sorrow and anything, right? Because at that point, we're still just forming. We haven't had any traumatic experiences yet. We're just comfy and warm and in our mother's womb, fully surrounded by protection all around. There's nothing around us that can hurt us, right? There's nothing there's no traumatic experiences that we're trying to like revert back to this comfort of the mother's womb, the mother's embrace, so to speak, of the womb. And they're like trying to return to that feeling of like newness when things were still
the pre-birth state.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's
because as soon as we're born, right? Like even the birthings experience, which you've talked about.
Yeah, being
where it's like
traumatic
and like we forget it for a reason.
Sure. I mean,
because
even
that's just like intense. But
even
before
mothers.
that, we're kind of in bliss.
Yeah.
And then we're pulled out into the real world.
Yeah, totally. I think it's a very traumatic thing. For moms and babies, right? Like there's that's that whole thing where like women's bodies kind of you don't forget the birthing process, but you kind of forget a little bit, right? Like you forget how maybe intense it is in some ways. I don't know. I've never been pregnant, but this is something I've always heard, right? Is like you kind of have to, like your body like kind of or your mind even shields you a little bit from that so that you could potentially get pregnant again and not be like terrified of it. Anyway, but the pre-birth state too, like it's interesting because obviously like after a certain point when you're like a fully developed fetus, like in the womb, like you're alive, right? But you're not alive in the sense of you don't have experiences, you don't have really thoughts or feelings or anything yet. Like you don't have what you get once you're born. And for all these people to want to return to that state, it does make sense that they're trying to escape their pain and go somewhere where they're, in that state of peace, but they're also very much avoiding like reality. Because as I said, I don't feel like, they're not themselves anymore. Obviously, the little girl even says it, where she's like, it looks like my dad, but that's not my dad, because you're kind of stripped of all the things that make you a person.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you're a baby, you're a baby. When you're in your mom's womb, like you're not. I don't know. This is maybe it's not meant to sound controversial, but you don't have your personality or anything yet. You're just this blank slate.
Yeah.
And then once you're born, then your personality, all these things come about from not only your nature, maybe partly, but also from your your experience and your environment and how you're raised and all of that. And not everyone has great childhoods or great life experiences. Some people have it way worse than others, obviously, and it's tough. Being alive is not easy to do.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things too where when you feel pain, you're still alive, right? Now, obviously, if you're, again, in pain all the time, that's a different story. But, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the irony of being that when we're talking about the mother's embrace, like I had said, being in the womb, the last time her mother embraced her
Right.
was trying to smother her
Yes.
and hold her back and tries to kill her with fire and drugs.
Yeah, that's a really great mirroring, because it is smothering in a way, right?
Sure.
Both the
Can't
entity
spell smother without mother.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and this is what I was kind of meaning about, like, with horror movies and motherhood and mothers. There's just, I mean, dads have it too, but I feel like it's different because we really are so, intimately connected to our moms because of the fact that they carry us in their wombs.
Yeah.
And there's just this more primal connection there. And mothers really do symbolize so many things. They, on the bright, happy end, it's love and safety and protection and just, pureness. And obviously on the opposite end, it's smothering, it's holding you back, it's so many things that can go wrong. And it definitely affects us in a different way when your mom is the villain in your life versus when your dad is the villain. I feel like there's a difference there for some reason,
Yeah, I mean, she seems to be fine, right? Like, she, of course, then goes and gets a job in being a firefighter, which makes perfect sense why she would want to do that. We also find out that Diaz, her lieutenant, I think, is the one who saved her from the fire that she's hugging in one of the flashbacks. So there's a bit of a bond and a connection there. And he's also, like, aware of what happened to her because he was there. He knows that the mom was responsible for it. Now, whether her mom went to jail for that or not, I don't know. We don't find anything out like that. We just know she died. And we know that that's really, like, what the catalyst is for her breakdown. Right? She goes in, she's been a firefighter for a while, but the same day her mom dies, she goes in and she freezes.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, I mean, what's great too is that, of course, throughout this journey, she does what her mother can't. Right? So the little girl is trying to be killed by her parent, and Anna protects her and pulls her out of the darkness, cuts her free from that tethering, so to speak, not literally like hers, but to her father and potentially her imminent demise, and pulls her out of the darkness into the light. She's able to free her from her bonds, unlike her mother is able to do. So she becomes a better mother than her mother in the end by protecting the child, which is, what our primal instincts should show us and have us do. So there's also I really love the imagery of them walking through the big lady.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
Opening.
That was really cool. Very, very creepy.
And there's, like, when they walk in, you can see her uvula up there, and you can see, like, what looks like maybe her ovaries or lungs or something. I couldn't tell what those were supposed to be, but then they walk into another room and we see that there's a fetus in the womb, and that is something that we see kind of pop up throughout the film.
Yes, a lot of fetus stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved the giant lady.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I thought that was very, very creepy and very cool. And I also really like the fact that she's a firefighter, but this whole thing takes place in a storm and with water.
Yeah, sure.
She's kind of out of her element in a way. Obviously, the fire in the beginning and the inspiration for her to become one makes sense, but...
Fire and water.
Yeah.
Opposing elements.
Yeah. And water, the water of the womb and all of that, of course.
I also like that the and I think this might play to her psyche, and this is maybe just her dealing with her own demons, is that when she's in the fire, when she's a kid, the thing that she remembers when she looks over is this octopus sticker that's on the wall. And octopus or octopi have tentacles.
Yeah.
Right? And look very similar to this creature down in the basement. So I think that's an argument towards either fate bringing her towards that inevitability, or this is metaphorical for like what's going on in her mind as she tries to free herself from the pain her mother caused her.
Yeah.
Because the movie doesn't have to be literal, obviously.
No, it doesn't. I was just thinking, because whenever, this is like not really what you're talking about, but I was thinking about, it kind of is. Let me see if I can like relate it. But when she calls from inside the house and she's calling her for backup, and the lady on the phone is like, we don't have any record and whatever. And we were just talking about her coworker who was like, I brought you here.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to think, but it is him that comes back from in the beginning and says, we got a call for this place.
Correct.
So he is,
Yeah, she's not calling back in time. Like,
well, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, no,
it's just her coworker brought her there.
But it is her coworker, yeah.
Yeah, he's part of this cult.
Well, because the reason I was thinking about that too was that the other part
but
that I was thinking was like, so I thought that the entity was speaking through them a little bit, because it sort of seems to be controlling them-ish at times, maybe.
Yeah, the people who are in the house, they're already part of the entity down in the water, from what I can tell. Or at least, I guess when they get on all their face paint and whatever, that's them then going down into the basement to be part of it. And then when she's thrown down there, she sees all of them are now a part of it. I don't know if the coworker that she has already was a part of it, because the ones that we see with the eyes that are glowing, from what I can tell, those are ones that have been replaced. Or they've already been down there. But the guy that what's a little confusing on that is that when she goes to detach the battery on the car, and she sees the first guy in the white face paint that ends up looking like the guys that are part of the ritual, in the temple, as the lady in the wheelchair calls the house. She sees him, and when she walks away, he has glowing eyes. Now, the glowing eyes is supposed to be a reflection of the light emanating from the creature, right? It looks like a baby, but then when you pull back farther, it becomes an eyeball, and it's one of three eyes on this huge Lovecraftian monster. So is it that they've seen the monster and so the reflection stays in their eyes? Or is it that they've already been down there, but the rain hadn't hit yet and people had died waiting for this creature?
Yeah, good point.
So how does he already have glowing eyes at this point?
Well, there had been some rains, right? Like
maybe when they're like looking down there, you can see the creature, but you can't get to it until the rain brings it up.
I was going to say, though, that I thought there had been some storms leading up to this one.
There had been.
So I think it was closer than it has been, perhaps.
So it's been flooding for a while. But how does he? So do you have to connect to the monster?
That's a good question.
Before your eyes glow?
I don't really know whether they've been replaced or whether they are. Like, I thought there was tentacle snake worm things inside of them. And that's what was, like, making their eyes glow.
Yeah.
Like, because the father, when she attacks him after she saves the little girl, he gets pulled away by tentacles, and it kind of looks like they come out of him. But I guess they're just the umbilical cords that, like, are connecting them.
I think they are.
So I think it's really just I think the umbilical cord tentacle things are what make their eyes glow. Because her eyes are glowing, too. When she
But how did they get those?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. It's fine.
I don't really care too much because I think
either, but
it's not.
it's just a
fun
question.
It's fun to think about, but ultimately it doesn't really take anything away from the viewing of the movie.
I mean, we do only see these entities, this eye light and everything on the day of the storm.
Yeah.
And there had been previous storms. People have been living in that house forever, waiting for, be a part of this thing. It so happens to be the same day, within the same hour or two that she goes to the house. Why they're following her specifically, why they seem to be in that area, like they're hunting her down.
Well, maybe the coworker has already reached out to them and been like, "This is the day. We're gonna do it this day."
Yeah.
And so they're, I don't know.
Yeah. And they mark her by her stepping on that thing, or did that come out of that guy and he left it behind?
I think that because the tentacle comes from the sewer.
Yeah,
whatever.
But I think that's attached to him, and when she goes to follow him, he jumps into the sewer, and his tentacle is still attached and kind of sliding down to him.
Yeah, whatever the tooth bone, it looks like a jawbone kind of tooth, I think, is maybe what it's supposed to be. Whatever that is.
Looks like the controller from X-Descents.
Yeah, it kind of does, yeah. But whatever that is definitely what gives her the connection where the umbilical cord can grow out of. The tentacle. Yeah,
because it appears in that foot as she's being pulled in the second time, as Anna is being pulled down. It's literally coming out of the spot in which she was injured from her foot. So, but she also had to cut one free from her arm, which I think is
probably where the fire
was her burn. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anywhere where you've sustained pain and injury. Yeah, which makes sense towards the pain.
Yeah.
Right, so you are tethered to your pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so you're tethered to it through your pain and suffering. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's psychological and then there's physical. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. When she goes down into the water and she sees all the other ones floating there tethered to that thing,
creepy.
Reminded me of the Hell of the Upside Down Sitters from the Big Trouble in Little China. More John Carpenter there for you. And then when the baby when she sees the baby and the baby's looking at her and they're kind of staring at each other.
Creepy.
And then she cuts herself free and starts to pull away and it turns into an eye. It actually looks like a clitoris, the whole thing looks like
it's
a
very,
vagina.
What is it?
Yonic.
Yonic. Yeah. That is funny because I remember, I knew that word, but there was some review where we were talking about phallic stuff and we're like, what's the opposite of that again? And somebody in the comments was like, it's Yonic. And I was like, oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, I love that. Always need more vagina imagery.
I agree. And then once they come out and the literal storm has passed.
Yes, yeah,
right,
it's all
which is
clear skies.
Very metaphorical, right?
Yeah, I thought it was great. And also, there's before that though, there is that really creepy scene where all their faces are floating. I don't know what's going on there, but it's scary looking. I'm a big fan of glowing eyes, honestly. I just find them to be
Flanaganism.
Yeah, I find them to be very unsettling, and I think it's a nice, easy way to show something that is not human, unnatural, uncanny. I think you can really accomplish a lot with that, and I especially like it when in this case, you're right. It's kind of the reflection of the glow of the entity, but other times, in other films, it's dog eyes or something, or cat eyes, where they're, the lens is reflecting light, which is very cool too. But I thought this was really great. It's definitely a shame that more people, might not hear about it. Hopefully, if you've watched this, you have either seen the film or you're inspired to go watch it, because it's very well made.
Yep.
Well acted.
Yep.
Cool, unique stuff. We don't get nearly enough, like I said at the beginning, Lovecraft type horror.
Yeah.
And this is a good example of it, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So.
Well, between us and Take It or Leave It
Yeah.
reviews, we're holding down the
We're
fort
holding down.
with this one.
This will be one
We're weathering the storm.
guaranteed at the end of the year when we do our, movies you might have missed video that we always do. This one will be on there. I'm already
doing that. That's what we're doing right now.
I know, but this will be on there again. So if you catch it now,
the reason
you'll be the cool kid when you watch that video and you're like, oh, I saw that already.
So typically we don't do spoiler discussions for smaller movies. We mostly have done them for the bigger films with 2025 releases or whatever year we're in.
Yeah.
We do tons of spoiler discussions, and we need to get back to them because we haven't been doing them since October because we were trying to stick, to all the new releases. But we want to go back to
that
festivals.
Also took a lot.
I have another festival I signed up for.
What? Really?
Yeah. Kayla's gonna be like, I'm out. No way.
The festivals are intense.
They're draining.
We watch a lot of festival movies during those.
But I definitely want to get back to the classic Sinister Cinema channel reviews of old, B movies.
Yeah.
And break them down and point out all the silliness and whatnot. But this one, because it had only one single review, and now it has two, and with this will be the third. I wanted to get something out there, something that people could, if they watch this movie, they can go and be like, what the hell did this all mean? And hopefully we shed some light. We had someone in the comments being like, I really liked it, but I had no idea what the hell happened. So I'm looking forward to your spoiler discussion to see if that kind of shines a light on it. Right into your eyes.
Yeah, it went into your eyeballs. The deadlights.
The deadlights.
This is just our interpretation of it, right?
Yeah,
you might have a totally different
think.
view, and that's fine and valid. And yeah, I would like to know. But this is, just what we think.
Yeah, this just needed to get out there. So if you made this movie, if you worked on it, there you go. You finally got an actual spoiler discussion of this film online. Bullshit that this doesn't have more attention on it.
Yeah, it should. It absolutely should.
So, yeah. I don't know any other Brazilian movies off the top of my head in the horror genre. I'm sure I've seen plenty. I just am not thinking of any others. But a very cool Brazilian film. It is in Portuguese. Mm-hmm. If you, for some reason, haven't seen it yet, and you're thinking about watching it, you will have to read subtitles. It is on Hoopla currently for free, or you can rent it, or you can sign up for Screambox. Yeah. No affiliation, no partnership or any of that bullshit. No. Just telling you where it's at. Nobody partners with us. Nobody wants us. Not even my mother.
Sad. I'm sorry.
And last thing I'll say on this here with my own little personal take on it is the thing that affects her the most is the fact that her mother dies, and now she kind of has to deal with that. Because here's a little insight on that from someone who has a mother that I am estranged from purposefully or purposely. I think either work. But I always think about what my reaction will be to her inevitable demise, right? She's going to die one day, probably before me. And I always wonder how I'm going to react, how I'm going to feel about that. Sometimes it scares me how much I feel like I'm not going to care. But I might be surprised. I might be like, whoa, fuck, okay. Any chance I ever had at reconciliation or understanding why or whatever, that's gone, right? That person who brought that kind of pain to you is no longer around. And there's something to that feels like this, I don't know, what's the right word? Finale. What word am I thinking?
A finality.
Finality. Thank you. I was like, finality?
Yeah. Well, obviously, any death has a finality to it, but I think, anytime if you are estranged from a parent or a sibling or something, even if you hate their guts and don't ever want to speak to them again, as you said, there's a good chance that still in the back of your head there's maybe a hope for reconciliation, or just the thought that it could happen while they're alive if both of you wanted it or whatever. Or maybe not, maybe they've done horrible things that are just completely unforgivable and you can't come back from. And even then, finding out that they're dead, maybe a sense of relief. And I think it's complicated. I
And
think
then
that
you feel
could,
guilt for
right,
feeling relief.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of feelings that could go into it, and none of them are wrong to feel. We've talked about on the channel before how parents have maybe unconditional love for their children, right? But that doesn't go the other way. Plenty of kids break away from their parents or feel resentment or hatred or so many things. Whereas it's a lot easier, I think, for parents to sort of keep with that unconditional love. But not all of them. Obviously, there's parents that do horrendous things to their children. So,
I know.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's that, guys. Mother's Embrace. Check it out if for some reason you haven't. And we'll see you in the comments. And